Hey there, and welcome back to Yosemite Valley, and welcome back to the aquarium build. We are in the last time-lapse episode of it, and I am very happy that you guys are with me again. So thank you so much for clicking in, and I really hope you guys had a good time. If you do like the content, as always, the little reminder, if you haven't subscribed already, please make sure to do so. That really helps me, the channel, and just in general to grow this weird and crazy stuff over here. I really do appreciate it. But now let's just jump into today's episode. You can see, like at the beginning, I'm rounding off some corners because that's due to some of your comments that most of these animals get confused when there are sharp edges. I must admit though that we didn't fix every corner because I had some issues with the viewing galleries. I have to look into that if I can still fix that. Also in stream, people really didn't have an idea how to fix it. So if you guys have an idea, please let me know how I can fix this issue at the sides of the windows, because actually I don't want to shut them all down. You know, maybe I just have to have like a little glass roundish issue, but I don't know, you know, something we will figure out that could work. However, before we go into the actual episode, let me just quickly hint you guys to the top right. There is a link to a Among Us coaster I made in Planet Coaster, and I'm super proud of it. Like, this was really mostly what I've been spending my time on the last 1.5 weeks, and I'm extremely proud. That's one of these typical Rudy projects, I want to call them, because I really worked my off to make sure that this comes together in a way that I wanted it. I wanted to see how much Planet Coaster offers me freedom to do this, and it was just a wonderful, wonderful experience to be back in there with having an actual plan and then also finish it. So yeah, that's the reason why I did pre-produce a little bit of the aquarium. However, this build over here is pretty new. We had this in a live stream this week, and again, as always, if you want to catch me live, and lately I had some more people joining over there, make sure to go over to this wonderful Twitch page. The link is in the description down below, and you'll be able to catch me live eventually. That would be awesome. I really enjoy the talks with you guys in chat, and just in general, we are doing a lot of weird, funny stuff in the streams as well. You know, it's not always building. Don't get me wrong. Especially in this build over here, you guys are able to ban some words, and then I'm not allowed to use these words doing the commentary, and it's kind of hard, you know. People banned words like me, I, camel, things, pieces, and all that kind of stuff, and it's becoming rather funny to listen to me then, I guess, because I'm struggling. But we haven't found like a how's that called? We didn't find a punishment yet, you know. If you guys come up with a suitable punishment, I'll take that gladly and put this into the Twitch stream as well. So if you guys would love to see that, just come over. And yeah, I don't really have too much to talk about in today's episode in general, so that's why I'm going a little bit off topic here as well. Just because it's like really what we talked about last time, the finishing touches. Like, we've done mostly the work already on the pretty much on the layout. So what we're doing, we're filling in some of the tanks. You will see in a bit that we go over to the sea turtle tank, and we do actually the rock formations that you guys were really asking me to do, so I really did. And yeah, also I'm doing a little bit more education work over here. We will do a bit of finishing touches around the pathing, because that still looks ugly at some point. And we're also doing the middle tank, which at the end I'm not like super happy with, but I think this is just the only valid thing we did with it. So yeah, that has to work. And at the end of today's time lapse, it's not all done. I will do some bits and tweaks this week in the live stream, and then you guys will be able to see the tour either on Wednesday or on the weekend, but I'm quite sure it's more likely on the weekend, because I will actually step a little bit back from the videos at the moment. Not because I don't have the time or don't want to. It's just YouTube at this point is very much gaming wise is very much not working accordingly at this point, which is normal. It's nothing to do with like bad content or whatnot. It's mostly to do with the fact that we are end of October, is not the best time for YouTube in that kind of sense anyways, but then again, it's kind of reinforced by the lack of new releases due to not having the Gamescom or E3 happening. So, you know, all these major things that you would have seen on these big events that would drop now obviously have been rescheduled, whatever. So it's rather a tricky time right now, but we do expect obviously quite a few new things coming on at the beginning of November, whether it's being the Planet Coaster console release and other stuff as well. So that hopefully gives the whole gaming industry, YouTube-wise, a little bit of a push. And then I'll be back to more regular content around there as well. So I'm taking a little bit of a let's say creative break is not the right terms, because I'm working on some secret stuff in the background quite heavily. So, you know, I'm also planning to release that one other secret project rather soon. But to be honest, I'm just waiting a little bit until we get eventually some news for this game over here, because I think we are all desperately in need of it. And I'm just like glimpsing over to the 5th of November, which is in fact the 1-year anniversary of Planet Zoo. Yeah, I'm still hoping that there will be something, but I'm not too sure if Frontier really has something in their pockets. It's been rather quiet lately. I mean, it's always quite quiet between those releases, but it has been very quiet. So either it's a very good sign because they have something big to show next and I just want to make sure to not jinx it or whatever, or it's just like that COVID or some other stuff has just kind of created a weird delay of stuff, or maybe even the focus have shifted in general already to other projects. Who knows? It's just me as human, and I can really only tell you I have no freaking idea at the moment. If I would have, I would definitely not tackle this topic in here to make sure that I don't jinx it. So nope, I don't have any kind of info. And so yeah, it's just a little bit of a waiting game right now, I guess. But here we are in the sea turtle tank, by the way, which I'm quite happy with how it turned out. I did want to make it as subtle as possible, but yeah, I just figured it was working out the way it is with all the different plants in here and stuff. So yeah, I'm quite happy how that turned out. And just in general, I mean, I'm just incredibly happy with how the entire aquarium turned out so far. I mean, it's been a wild ride. We've been looking a lot into realism, also thanks to your comments, guys. And at this point, I really would love to ask you guys to jump down in the comment section and let me know how this was for you as an experience. How did you like the aquatic house? Was it a very good one for you in terms of yeah, just in general, how I approached that, you know, with trying to get your feedback in and making this house kind of an own series within the series, you know, and just really focusing on the progress of it. I really would love to understand how you like that, and just in general, if so. And how do you see that in relation to the rest of the entire Yosemite Zoo? Is this your favorite part now, or what do you favor over this one? If you compare that, for example, to the South America Dome, or to the let's say to the Big Cat area, or I mean, there are so many cool things. I know that a lot of people love the bison habitat. I like that a lot of people also said that they do really like the grizzly bear education centers and so on, and the Panther Creek. So yeah, just in general, how would you rate that in comparison to the rest? And yeah, just in general, how do you like this entire project, how it turns out right now? So this is kind of something I really would love to know. But yeah. One other thing, while you see me putting down some foliage here and there, and I really do like how this came out here. If just Frontier could give us the ability to put some custom images on the screens, that'd be amazing, because that would add so much more also what we could do with the game. Just a tiny thing, and honestly, this is one of the changes I would expect for a 1-year anniversary free update if they do it. So these kind of things are really like lacking a lot. I think we can just talk about that a brief moment while we see this wonderful. I kind of like this fence, by the way. It's the first time I used this light for it, and honestly, it's also the first time we can use it because of the lately added function to disable the lamps. So yeah, that's kind of cool. But yeah, no, just in general, I played a lot of Planet Coaster, as I said, lately, and I just figured that a lot of things have been improved for Planet Zoo that you don't really see, which is more like under the hood and in the UI rather than actually gameplay wise. But there are a few things that are really lacking in terms of customizability and individuality, blah blah blah, how you would call that. But definitely, you know, if you look at the custom billboards, oh my lord, we do need stuff like that. The curbs and barriers are just insane. The vista points, like a lot of little things and tweaks that Frontier gave us along the road of Planet Coaster that hugely improved the way how you can play Sandbox, because it gives you freedom of, you know, just bending the reality a little bit by making the people go where they need to go and making things look like they need to look, even though the game really doesn't do it on its own. So just kind of, you know, it's almost like hiding a little bit of the finicky things of the game. And I don't know why we would not have it in here, because it just would have such a cool impact to be able to have our own like screenshots from our own habitats to put on the education boards. I mean, how cool would that be? Or one thing I really would love to see as well is kind of a the function to put a screenshot of your animals to certain animal education boards. You know, you kind of often see that in zoos, that for example in the like gorillas or like in general primates quite often have that they do have their own signs. You know, for the 6 or 7 primates you have in there, they all have their own name and they get a very own plate in front of the education boards, and then you can actually read the whole story about it and, you know, all this kind of stuff. I really do like it, and I would love to see something like that in the game. But yeah, just in general, I think it's very important to tackle these kind of things, because we know that they have been in this engine, in this particular game style, because let's face it, Planet Zoo and Planet Coaster are very similar. You know, it's not like we could compare it to Jurassic World Evolution. I totally get this. There is no comparison. It's the same engine, but that's literally all it is, you know. Maybe you can compare a zoo a little bit more to Jurassic World Evolution because of the animation of the animals, but even then, the terrainscaping in Jurassic World Evolution was so dramatically different that it doesn't really connect to what you see in this game here. It's just not comparable. But yeah, now going into the last part of today's video, I really want to talk about the, you know, upcoming days, weeks, whatever, with Planet Zoo as a game and my channel, because I really think that it's important to talk about this with you guys. Just a little bit, you know, chilly-milly while you see some lights being placed down, and just a few things before we come to a very nice last edition, which will also make it to the thumbnail of today's episode, which you obviously have seen already and hopefully therefore clicked on it. But that's a good topic, that's a good segue. I just briefly talked about that at the beginning. YouTube is kind of in a down at the moment, and looking back at the last couple of years, it's definitely not surprising and also not a bad thing at all, or just like, it's not even worrying or whatever. It's just like, you see that it's happening every now and then, and you do need these kind of, you know, moments to realize that it's not always about you, about the content or whatnot. Sometimes it's just the way it is. But I really want to, and I kind of had the feeling lately that it might have been sometimes that YouTube drove me a little bit too much to do what works rather than what I really want. Like, don't get me wrong, everything I did is still what I liked and enjoyed. I think there's barely ever been any content on the channel that I didn't like, but it's not necessarily the content I would love, you know what I mean? Like, it's not the thing I'm just, you know, burning for more than 100%, like just to the very max. And that's also the reason why I did take that week now to go into Planet Coaster, even though the video totally stinks compared to other stuff. It even stinks to franchise. And, you know, to be brutally honest, franchise takes me an hour to record and then an hour to render and then upload it. Planet Coaster, the video took me approximately like 40 hours to build, 6 to 7 hours to cut, and then another hour and stuff to finish up and render it. And it just made like, I don't know, it will at the end of the day make like not even 1/4 of the views that a normal franchise mode has. So obviously this is, in comparison to everything else, if you look at that from a business standpoint, absolutely not justified, and it's kind of, you can't do it. But it's not my business, you know, it's still my hobby. Maybe at one point I make it into my business if you guys keep pushing and helping me to grow. That would be amazing. I would really love to go for it someday, but it's not. And so I want to focus a bit more on what made me and the channel strong in the past and still does. And this is just exploring the creativeness of games and the limitless behavior. Behavior is the wrong word. The limitless, I can't even think of a better word of it, but just like the fact that games can offer limitless creativity. And it's just something I really want to deep dive a bit more into. And yeah, do more stuff like what we are doing right now on screen. Just doing completely unnecessary things that just add a minor thing to whatever, but just, you know, bring me the fun. And this is what you guys enjoyed the most in the past as well, just doing things completely out of the box. And this is what I want to focus on. So movie habitats will most likely just come back soon, because I think this would be one of the things I would love to do next. And yeah, then we'll see how it turns out. But for now, that's it. I really hope you enjoyed today's episode. As always, guys, if you did enjoy it, make sure to like and maybe leave me a sub if you consider this. And yeah, just have a good time. Goodbye, everyone.